Welcome, dear viewers, to your favorite channel, Otaku Central, for fun anime summaries. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and activate the bell button to receive all our videos. Today we are going to summarize a new, exciting, and very different story. So grab your warm drink and let's all enjoy. Our events begin with total destruction sweeping the city, and everyone who walks on the road falls and dies suddenly. We see a group of orphaned children running to the shelter where they live, and they realize that the director is also dead, and they don't know what this is all about. They hear a voice saying that there is a dangerous virus spreading and killing people, but this virus does not affect those under 13 years old. Then unknown men come in and take them all away, and they don't know what their fate will be. 4 years later, we see a huge organization filled with a huge number of children, and they examine them, take their blood, and give them a drink after drawing blood. We see a yellow-haired kid, Micah, watching his friend, Yu, destroying his own drink, and telling him not to drink this time, too. Yu angrily says, "I'm not going to drink that shit." He replied, "But if you don't drink that drink, you'll be weak. And also, why are you always so nervous?" He says, "I'm not nervous, and you should stop listening to their orders." Mika says, "It's not as bad for me as you see, and here we won't die, and we will be able to live with our family in one place. Isn't that enough?" He replied, "We are not just sheep here." He said to him, "You are still stubborn." While they were talking, the children who were with them in the shelter were drawing on the floor. At that time, two members of the organization who had taken the children came in and ran over the children's hands while they were drawing cruelly. Yu got very nervous and ran to one of the men to hit him, but of course the man grabbed him by his trousers to beat him, and Yu angrily said to apologize to the kids. Micah intervened and begged the man to leave Yu alone and said, "He's stupid and doesn't understand anything. Please leave him alone." Yu's dignity was hurt, and he told Micah, "Don't interfere. I'll beat him up and teach him his mistake." The man realized that our hero Yu was too arrogant, so he caught him in a very high building and wanted to throw him off the top.
And Micah begs him to let him go. But before the man hits our little hero, or does anything to him, there is someone, a very important person, came named Verd, who we know is a vampire. So the man leaves Yu after he sees this Verd. Mika runs up to Verd and greets him. Yu asks, "Who is he?" He says, "I'm going to welcome you to my palace today. You're always welcome because your blood is delicious." Then he looks at Yu and says, "Is this boy coming with you today?" Mika ran up to Yu and said, "No, he's not coming, he's shy. Don't worry about it, maybe another time." Then he grabbed Yu and they walked away. While they were walking, Yu asked him why he didn't let me. I was going to beat him up. He said, "Son, that's ridiculous. No human can do anything to a vampire. Their power is enormous compared to us." He said, "We won't know for sure until we try and see for ourselves." Then he said, "You're right. What's between you and Verd?" He replied, "He can suck my blood, and in return, I'll have the sweetest food and everything I want. If we want to escape from this place, we have to act smart." At that moment, Yu got very angry at his friend's thinking and hit him. Mika was surprised and asked him, "Aren't you yourself in need?" He replied sharply, "No," and left. Then our hero sat alone, and a girl named Akane approached him and asked, "Weren't you with Mika? Where is he?" He told her sharply, "Shut up, you too. I wasn't with a stupid person like him." She was surprised and asked him, "Why are you so upset?" He told her, "Stay away from me and don't bother me." She said, "But we're one family. How can you say that?" He told her, "I don't have a family or care about this nonsense." She replied, "No, we're one family. The shelter director told us that we're all sisters and one family." Here our hero remembered the first time he went to the shelter, and they introduced him to the children. The first one to welcome him was Mika. Then he knew his name and said to him, "I'm an orphan like you, but when I came here I gained a family, and you became a part of our family." Angrily he replied, "I don't have a family, stop saying that. My father was going to kill me, and my mother called me a devil child and committed suicide afterward. So this family means nothing to me, and I don't have any family at all." Mika said, "Surely it was very tough for you, but from now on, we are your family."
And thus began our hero Yu's acquaintance with Mika. Anyway, Akane interrupted his thoughts, and she told him, "Don't be late because we're all waiting for you for dinner." When he returned to the dormitory, the children were excited and told him they would be having curry today. He was surprised and asked where they got the curry from, since they usually have less food here in the dorm. So Yu went to Akane and asked her, "Where did you get this curry?" She told him, "Mika got the ingredients for me, and this is the first time I've cooked such a feast, and I'm very excited, as are the other children." Here, our hero understood how Mika got those ingredients. As they sat down to eat, he was the only one who refused to eat, while all the children were happy eating, saying it's their birthday because it's the first day they're so happy. They noticed that Yu wasn't eating, and when they asked him why, he didn't say anything. And when they asked about Mika's whereabouts, why he hasn't come back yet, he remained silent and distressed. Time passed, and all the children went to sleep, and our hero kept waiting for his friend to return, asking him where he got the curry from. He realized that his friend sold his blood to the vampire, Verd, to get them this food. Yu became very upset and said, "You can't always do this. Next time, I'll be the one selling my blood." Mika replied, "No, you can't do that. Didn't you say you would fight the vampires and avenge us? Until you do that, I'll be the one sacrificing myself." Yu responded, "No, I'm not stupid. I know vampires can be..." Before he could finish his sentence, Mika interrupted him and said, tears in his eyes, "Don't finish your sentence. The children will be upset if they hear you. They believe in your words, and there will come a day when you defeat the vampires, just as you always tell them. And that's enough. Let's eat the curry, just you and me, because I know you haven't eaten." Yu was refusing to eat, but Mika pulled out a gun and said, "I won't allow you to fight those vampires on an empty stomach, especially when you'll have a weapon like this." Not only that, but he also gave him a map of the city and the way out to escape from this place. They started eating while looking at the map together. Mika said, "I managed to get the gun and this map from Ferd's palace after tremendous effort to find it. Don't think your friend is stupid and that I'm just handing over my blood. Today is the last time he'll suck my blood because we're escaping today." Yu was surprised and worried. He told him, "Don't worry, I've arranged everything. Leave all this to me." Yu asked, "But if we leave here, they said the virus outside is deadly and we'll die if we leave the city." He replied, "How old are we now?" Yu said, 12 years old, he said, "But they said the virus kills adults over 13 years old. So we still have a year left. When we leave here, we'll have a year ahead of us to plan what to do next." As they were talking, Akane woke up and asked why they were awake until now. Yu enthusiastically told Mika, "I agree, let's do it today," and told Akane to wake up all the children. She was surprised and didn't understand what was happening. Mika stood up enthusiastically and told her, "Today we're leaving this world behind." Then they saw all the children coming out of their places and following the map to exit the city. Yu answered the children who asked where they were going, making them happy that they would return to their world and then they could eat curry every day as they liked. The children were very excited until they saw two of the vampire guards and hid from them until they figured out how to escape. Finally, they reached the last place that would lead them to the exit, and everyone was very excited that they were about to leave the city. But as soon as they entered this last place, Ferd appeared and lit up all the lights in the place, saying, "You're too late. I've been waiting for you for a long time. Oh, and I love the look on your faces, the look of shattered hope. You humans really entertain me. That's why I love playing this game all the time." Mika was shocked when he heard this, and suddenly the map flew from his hand, and Ferd grabbed one of the children and sucked his blood in front of them. He told them, "Unfortunately, she died in my hands easily," and threw her on the ground. Yu, shocked and enraged, screamed loudly and pulled out the gun he had with him and aimed it at Ferd. But Ferd dodged the bullet and quickly changed his position, saying, "Oh, the gun in your hand is mine. So not only did you manage to steal the map, but you also stole my gun. Well, I'm impressed by you all intelligence, children. Therefore, let me give you some good news to give you hope. The map you have is real, and as soon as you leave this place, you will indeed know how to escape from the city. I won't be able to chase you if you leave here, but show me how you'll manage to get out of here." Yu then looked at the children, shouted, "Run from here quickly and I'll hold him off," and fired into the air to make them hear his words. But as they were escaping, Ferd chased after them and killed them all, and Mika screamed and begged him to stop killing them. At that moment, Akane was standing there, terrified of what she saw, as she was also the only girl who hadn't died yet. When Ferd saw Mika and Yu afraid for her, he coldly killed her in front of them as well. At that moment, Mika was shocked and looked at Yu, saying, "Don't ever forget that we were once a family." He took the gun from his hand and ran towards Ferd to kill him. But with disdain, Ferd told him, "What a shame, Mika, your blood tasted delicious. It's a shame you'll die like this." And he put his hand on Mika's heart to kill him. But Mika didn't give up and tried to shoot him with the gun. Unfortunately, Ferd cut off the arm holding the gun. Yu, filled with anger, ran and took the gun from the ground and hit Ferd on the head. He then ran to his friend, who was devastated and crying. Mika told him, "You have to escape from here now. Please don't let our deaths be in vain." With great sadness and tears in his eyes, Yu told him, "No, I can't leave you here and go. You'll come with me." And he kept pulling him to move with him, saying, "I never believed I had a family until now. You're my family, and I can't leave without you." Mika pushed him away with his other hand, affected and teary-eyed, saying, "Escape from here quickly, you idiot." Yu couldn't leave his friend, but at the same time, he wanted to avenge for him and the other children who died. That's why he ran from the place alone. Mika was happy that this was the first time Yu called them his family, as he always denied it. Meanwhile, Yu was running and screaming, crying without knowing what was waiting for him, but he just ran away. As soon as he left the place, he fell from an icy hill, and when he got up to continue, he felt unsure of where to go. Suddenly, men appeared behind him, and one of them, who seemed like a great leader, told him, "The prophecy has been fulfilled. There is indeed someone who will escape from this place. That's why we will use you, young man, to get rid of the vampires." At that moment, all Yu felt was fear and reluctance as he ran to the leader, crying and hugging him, begging him to let them do it quickly, because they must destroy those vampire monsters. 4 years later, we see our hero Yu has grown up in the middle of a completely destroyed city, now a second-rank soldier. He talks about how for the past 4 years, every time he closed his eyes, he saw scenes of his friends playing and laughing together, always saying they were one family, something he always denied. And despite that, he loved them. And the scene of them dying at the hands of the vampire Ferd repeated before his eyes every day for the past 4 years. That's why his heart was filled with vengeance, because after understanding the true meaning of family, he lost them all at once and became alone again without them. As he stood on the debris, he thought about this, and a huge monster appeared in the place, along with a group of first-rank soldiers, to intervene to kill this monster. Noticing how dangerous it was, and when they saw Yu, they told him what a second-rank soldier like him was doing in such a dangerous situation, and urged him to escape quickly. He replied, "Who are you telling this to? Who exactly is supposed to escape? He lived to avenge the vampires, and to do that, he must face a monster like this first." And he went to kill the monster alone. And the soldiers said that, as usual, he disobeyed orders. Indeed, our hero managed to kill this huge monster alone. After that, because of what he did, they stopped him from working as a soldier and sent him to a civilian school. He was upset that after he saved them from such a strong monster, in the end, they punished him by sending him to a civilian school, even though he was a strong soldier in the first place. At that time, the class teacher was annoyed by Yu's behavior, constantly scolding him to focus in class or he'd kick him out. But when Yu heard that he would be kicked out, he was happy and told him, "Kiss your hand, kick me out. I don't even want to be here in the first place." The teacher became more agitated and told him, "Are they sending you here to mock me or what? But I won't allow it." At that moment, a girl named Shinoa was sitting behind Yu. She whispered to him and told him to sit down. Surprised, he asked her, "Who are you exactly?" It was written on her notebook that she was a monitoring officer and was here to observe his behavior at school. She told him that if he didn't cooperate here in class, if you engage in any annoying behaviors, I'll inform the army, and they'll extend your punishment period here. He shouted back, saying it's impossible. The teacher yelled and told him, "Last time, your voice should be heard here in class, not on the street." At that moment, Yu wanted to respond, but he remembered what Shinwa said about them possibly extending his punishment, so he remained silent in his place. She told him, "Your punishment period will end once you make friendships here, so make an effort and make friends." Feeling hopeless, he began to recall the first day he left the vampires and met the commander. At that time, our hero was young and said, "How come humanity perished? You and those with you are still alive, and you're telling me there's still life?" He replied, "True, because of the virus, 10% of the world died, and huge monsters appeared. But humans are intelligent and started to recover. All of this is happening through our organization. We gather people who survived the virus and help them so we can regain control of the world." Yu, surprised, asked, "Who exactly are you?" He replied, "I'm Gorin, a captain in the Imperial Japanese Army, the demonic one." Then, the officer accompanying him was ordered to give Yu the jacket because he was shivering from the cold. He asked him, "You hate vampires, right?" With a mix of anger and sadness, he replied, "Yes." He reached out his hand and said, "I'm the one who will give you the power to achieve that." Back to Yu at school. He was sitting alone, thinking about all these details and wondering why he neglected what Gorin told him for 4 years and still didn't understand its significance. Anyway, it was time for break, and the students went out to eat ice cream, except for our hero, who remained alone in the classroom. Shinwa approached him and suggested that he could have told them he wanted to join them and eat ice cream together. He replied angrily, "Just sit quietly, you're not needed here." She told him that Captain Gorin told her that his family died at the hands of vampires when he was young. And since then, he's been afraid of getting close to anyone because he's afraid of losing them, and his heart hurts again. Angrily, he stood up and told her, "Don't talk about my life, and go tell your captain, instead of letting him punish me like this. Ensure my inclusion in the vampire eradication unit, as I am highly qualified for it." She handed him a paper and told him the captain expected him to say those 2 words, which is why he prepared the paper for him. When he read what was written on the paper, he found that the captain was saying he wouldn't let a beginner like him join the vampire eradication unit until he had friendships and knew them as well. If you can't do that, you'll remain like this forever. Of course, this infuriated Yu greatly at the time, and he angrily threw the paper on the ground before leaving the place, and noticed that Shinwa was following him everywhere. She said, "Are you going to keep following me everywhere like this?" She replied, "My mission here is to monitor you anyway." As they were talking, they saw a group of students bullying a student named Yuto. You left the place without rescuing the student. Shinhwa despaired and told him, "Since this is your reaction to what happened, it seems very difficult to actually form friendships." This was a summary of the first part of the anime Vampire Slayer. Finally, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and activate the bell button to receive our new summaries. Goodbye.